So what is there to gain in it? What is there to lose in it? Once you see that there is nothing to be afraid of, there is nothing to be afraid of. You say Mahatma was told, this is Socrates' story you must be knowing. Socrates was a jnani, a philosopher, Atma-jnani, Vedanta. And the king of the, I don't remember the entire history of that period, Athens. And so there were a few students of Socrates. They were studying with Socrates. And these students entertained ideas, of course naturally got from Socrates only. They have entertained ideas that collided with the philosophy of governance of the times. At the time there was a king and a ministers and there is a government in place. It was a very civilized society, you know, Greek civilization. And so the government was doing a great job, and it has a constitution and it has a philosophy, and some despotism was also there, part of it. It's an autocratic government. And some of the ideas of Socrates, but they don't gel with the philosophy of governance of the day. And therefore the king and the ministers, they saw a threat in these students of Socrates. And why they speak like this, whereas we want the citizens to entertain this kind of ideology, whereas these people are speaking something opposite to that. Why, where from these ideas are emanating? They are afraid of ideas. People are afraid of ideas, not armed forces, ideas. And therefore the king felt a threat, and the ministers also, they have perceived a threat, and they have made inquiries and found that all these students were very scholarly people, and they all learned from Socrates. So he is the origin of these ideas, and they don't like ideas. People don't like ideas, you know. So that is there even today. They don't like ideas. They want the same old thing should continue. No new ideas should come anywhere near. They are afraid of ideas. And therefore, they have put some false case upon Socrates and put him in jail. He remained in jail happily. He was not afraid. They put him behind bars. And there was some Bangaru trial, and he was given capital punishment. And in those days, the punishment is implemented by giving poison to the person. So he has to drink it. That is, even now there is some such thing, give a lethal injection. In those days they give a poison in a cup. That is how Mirabai was punished here, and that is how Socrates was punished. Just before previous night, some of the ministers who liked the teachings of Socrates and all these students, they came together and came out with a rescue plan. And so they could manage to open the gates of the jail in which he was lodged, and then went to his cell and about to open it. They tell him, come on, wake up, midnight, time to go. We are taking you away from the kingdom so that you can live happily, peacefully. You need not, otherwise tomorrow they will execute you. Then Socrates said, is this what you have learnt from me? You want me to be afraid of death? Atma is deathless, I told you many a time. So instead of knowing, he is an Atma-jnani, Socrates. He is like Buddha and like Shankara. And so he told Atma has no death. Atma is deathless, achedyoyam, adahyoyam, that kind of a thing, statement he makes. And why should I be afraid? They are not going to kill me. I am their own Atma. The body they are going to kill, it doesn't matter. And therefore he refuses to flee. And so these people were utterly frustrated, and they withdrew quickly, otherwise they will be found and they will be put behind bars. So they quickly withdrew. The sun comes next day morning, he was brought before the court and probably given a last chance to repent or whatever. Naturally he refuses to do any such thing. Then poison was offered in a cup. He happily drinks it. and dies. The physical body dies. This is how jnanis are. They are not afraid of anything. They don't know what is fear. So see that there is nothing to be afraid of. Because fearlessness is the door to the supreme reality, which is your own self, which is the Brahman. You see, when there is nothing to be afraid of, when you see that, fearlessness comes by itself. So, therefore, lokan nodvijate chayaha. You see, these people are anxious. There is an anxiety in people. If you can have a meter, like BP meter, you just put the meter to the hand, it measures the BP. There is such a thing. You just put the wrist, it will read the BP. And then there is a meter, just touch it with a droplet of blood, it will measure the sugar. Like that, if there is a meter that can measure anxiety, and you attach it to everybody, you will find people are all anxious. Some are anxious 30%, some 50%, some 70%, but there is a baseline of anxiety, maybe 25%, 30%. That anxiety, the baseline of anxiety is the product of the identification with the physical body. When you identify with the physical body, so this is a big topic. And this is the only important topic in Vedanta, that you are not the body. You have to realize that you are not the body. That doesn't mean you have to hurt the body or you have to do something to the body, not like that. You have to put it in terms that sound more practical, more doable. You have to develop that space, that inner space with reference to the body. People, more often than not, are muddle-headed. Their thinking is always bad. They don't know how to think. Like people all over the world, they want more space outside. They want outer space. They love more space outside. For example, if you go to a flight, they all carry bigger bags. He says 115 centimeters, they all bring 130 centimeters. He says 8 kg, they all bring 14 kg. And so they bring suitcases that don't fit into the bin above. And then they check in huge suitcases. 2 people can sit inside and go like that. They want more space to put more things. And then they make a teapot and cover the entire teapot with all kinds of useless things. And they want bigger house. Once a person came to me, I was having food somewhere, somebody gave me food and he joined me. Casually he told, now why should he join for food here? He can go his home, he is a rich guy. He can go his home and have food, you know. But he says he is expanding his kitchen. His wife is expanding the kitchen. I know one fact, she never cooks. Always eating from the hotel or here or there. The diners, this is America, diners will be there. You don't cook at home. You go to the diner and sit there in a very relaxed way and they will serve the food. Slowly they serve and you can enjoy the food from say 8 to 9:30 you can have the dinner. And then eat as much as you could and then come home and sleep. Therefore, why to cook? Therefore, the cooking was not there at home. I have never seen the cooking happening. But then they are expanding the kitchen. Why do you expand kitchen? Because there is less space to move around. Why don't you move around by going outside? No, within the kitchen there is less space to move around. Why do you want more space? In the kitchen you want to cook, you know. So people want more space outside. They want bigger houses. They want big bedrooms and then bigger bathrooms. And they want more bedrooms, bigger hall, this, that. They want big houses. And then they explore the outer space. Man is busy exploring the outer space. But they never think of even exploring the inner space. You have to try that. That is the message of Vedanta. Explore the inner space. What is inner space? Here I am, here is the body. There is a space. That is the space of awareness. It is not physical space, obviously. So the cognitive space or the space that is provided by the knowledge. So you know that you are not the body. Like the body becomes sick, so you take the sick body to a physician. Like you take the car to the mechanic. The body has its own mechanics called physicians or doctors. They are body mechanics. And so you take the body to the mechanic and he will repair it and bring it back. The doctors always treat sick bodies. They never treat sick patients. That is the fact of life. Earlier, the doctor used to look at the patient in India. In India, there is a pressure to see more patients. And so in spite of that, the doctors used to look at the patient, talk with the patient and try to relate with the person. But now they don't do that. They don't have time, that is one thing. Now the physician is looking at his laptop. Before the patient comes, patient number 11. I was the patient number 11. And before I could come, hello, please come. He says, while looking at the laptop, he says, and the assistant takes you and makes you sit before the doctor in the chair. He doesn't look at you. He notices that the patient has come and sit there because of the movements of the assistant. He is looking at that laptop, number 11 patient. He doesn't even look at the name. He looks at the charts. What is the weight? What is the age? And what is the blood pressure? What is this? What is that? What this test? What that test? All those things he sees. And then he is looking at it and then giving an opinion. So you seem to be suffering from this, so you please take this medicine, this and that. And he gives it on a piece of paper. In America they don't even do that. You go to the CVS and collect from their medicine, he will give you. From the laptop the message will go to CVS. He doesn't treat the patient. Because there is no patient. There is only illness. He is a jnani. The doctor is a jnani. There is only illness, as it is evident from the charts that appear on the laptop. He doesn't look at the patient at all. And then he has he has typed a few things and clicked. Already the message has gone to CVS. It is connected to the health insurance also. Everything happens instantly. And he need not look at your face. Maybe out of courtesy he may look at you while going, have a good day, he may say. He doesn't treat the patient, he treats the sickness. And you develop the similar attitude, that is all you have to do. That is the space that I am talking about. When you have that space with reference to the body will be in its place. In fact, people have to live beyond the threshold of body consciousness. You have to go beyond the threshold of body consciousness. You are aware of the body only when the body is in pain. It will call for your attention. Then you become attentive. Otherwise, you are not the body all the time. And so, when you settle down in that consciousness, beyond the body consciousness, in that you cross that threshold, and you settle down in that awareness in which you are not the body. You are aware of the body, but you are not the body. When you go beyond this body identification, your anxiety levels become zero. The anxiety meter will show zero. Just the very fact of identifying with the body puts the anxiety at 30%. I am just imagining a matter. Therefore, there is a base level of anxiety with which people live. The anxiety that cannot be articulated. You cannot speak about that anxiety because there is no specific cause for that anxiety. You cannot recognize it for what it is. It is the base level of anxiety. That is the body identification. Therefore, this anxiety is a mental state caused by I am the body idea. So when you develop that inner space by meditation, by knowledge that you are not the body, it is not some philosophical discourse that I am talking about. It is the simple fact of life. You have to see that you are not the body. The body is physical, it is material. Whereas you are not physical, you are not material, you are not gross. You are the subtlest of the subtlest. You are the light in which everything comes to light, including the body. Therefore, you develop that space. Once you develop that space, the basic level of anxiety comes down to zero. You live a life in which there is no anxiety. And then there is no fear of death. There is no fear of injury. That doesn't mean I am not suggesting you should be foolhardy or whatever. You are not afraid of things all the time. Knowingly or unknowingly, there is always fear in the minds of people. That fear is gone once you realize that you are not the body. We will discuss this verse further. Om Purnamada Purnamada